Hi all, welcome to the channel, welcome to the workshop. It's Monday, and you know what that means? Mallard Monday. So we've got the next section of Build Mallard. We are using the boiler, and this is one heavy bit of metal. So let's get into it, and let's get building. Alright, so here we are. This is issue 3, and this is what we got in issue 3. We have the boiler section. Now this is metal, and it's really heavy. And it is really quality that I cast. As you can see, it's got all the rivet detail in place there. And we've got all the markings along the side here. And we've also got some brass rod. And we've got the little handles. And basically we're going to be drilling out the holes along here and placing that brass rod along. Now, as well as these parts that we got in issue 3, we will need the nose section. And we'll need the 2 side skirts that we got in issue 2. We'll also need the little pack of screws that we got as well. Now, everything you see here is metal. So the front nose, this, the side skirts, all metal. So it is really good quality piece. And the very first thing we're going to be doing is joining the nose cone to the chassis, or to the boiler section, I should say. And let's just see if we can get that to fit in without any adjustment. Might need just a little bit of persuasion on that peg. It's just a little bit too tight. Alright, so let's try that again. That's a perfect fit on there now. And we've got 2 holes there. We're going to need 2 of the screws to secure those together. Now, I don't have to tell you, general rule of thumb, when going into metal parts, a little bit of oil goes a long way. One in there. And we've got the other one going in just there. Now, unfortunately, as I've said before, it's not possible to get this part work anymore. But I am certainly interested if any of you guys have done it, are going to do it, like me, have had a box sat in a cupboard for a long time, and not quite got around to doing it yet. But I'll certainly like to hear what you guys are doing. So that is issue 3, or the nose from issue 2 connected to the boiler from issue 3, and that is looking absolutely brilliant. Now, interesting enough that these screws are in a bag labelled AM. However, that AM reference is not used in the magazine, so it's something to watch out for. Now, it has said about using some glue to secure this fully, but those screws and these 2 pins here, that's never going to move apart, so I'm not going to worry about gluing that. It's absolutely fine as it is. Now, the next thing we need to do, we need to drill out these holes here, and this is going to be for the railing that will go along the edge here. Now, if the front nose was anything to go by, drilling into this with just a little pin vise, it's far too much work, and you can see the thickness of the metal there. It will take quite a considerable amount of time, so I am just going to use my drill. It makes it so much easier. Obviously, if you have a Dremel or something like that, then that'll also work as well. But I'm just going to go for the drill. So I am going to put a little bit of oil where the holes are, just make it a little bit easier for the drill to go through. and it will help obviously dissipate any heat that is created. So I'm going to drill those out and then I'll come back.
A few moments later.
Right, so all those holes are drilled out, as you can see there. That was a 1.4mm drill bit, and it's cost me 2 drill bits in my cheap Dremel. So yeah, I definitely advise not doing it with a hand drill or a little pin vise, because you'll be there forever doing that. I've tried to put all the little spare bits in here for the minute, just try and keep them safe. And what we're going to be doing now is getting these little brass knobs, and each one of those is going to go into each of these holes, and then we're going to be threading a piece of this brass rod through those. Now obviously they do have a hole in them, you can probably just about see that. So when we put them on, we do need to make sure that that hole is all facing the correct way, obviously along the body of the engine. And the way I'm just going to do this, I'm just going to put a bit of the super glue in a tray. I'm going to dip them in and then put them in each one. And super glue would be absolutely fine for this. I'm not going to use the epoxy that I used for the front. And this is where tweezers are going to help. And hopefully I won't end up gluing myself to the engine. So that's the first one in, just like that. I'm going to continue all along here on both sides.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Using the brass rod as you go does make it so much easier to line these up. And now we've got the slightly tricky ones to do, because we now need to effectively create a curve on this rail. Now we need to just bend this rod as it goes through this curve. Just like so, and we'll just tap it back a little bit so that it terminates at that rod or that rail, and that is looking just like that. Obviously now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm going to do the same thing as I did before. I'm going to get the first couple in and then I'll put the rod in. Getting it into that last rail there. So that's looking just like that on both sides, as you can see. Now what we need to do is just trim off the excess, flush with that one, and flush with that one there, just like so. And then I'll just use one of these little bits of wire, and we'll get a little bit of glue, And we just tap a little bit just in the ends, and that will secure that wire fully in place, like that, and like that. And once that sets, I will just file off any excess so we have a nice smooth finish there. And now there's only one last thing to do in this issue, and it's got to be one of the more exciting bits to do rather than just doing those handrails. We're attaching the side skirts. So in order to do that, we will just be placing that on there like so, and we've got 1, 2, 3 screws to do. It does have this little peg in the middle here, and we just want to make sure that does sit over there nicely and it is fitting nicely with the frame, and it looks like it is fairly well. And we're going to use a couple of the screws from that issue as well. So I'm going to secure this middle one first. You can see how nicely that the screws go into the metal with just a touch of oil. To help lubricate those threads when it cuts in. Now obviously when handling this and moving this around now, we have these lamp irons on the front that we want to be careful of, and also we don't really want to be buckling and bending all the brass work that we've just put there as well. So obviously do be careful when putting it on its side or something like this, or even on its top. I do have a partwork upgrade mat, which may come into play at some point during this build, but for now it's fine to be held. Do that end one first. That does need a little bit of a bend to get into place. Just ensure that these are nice and tight. Perfect. That's not bad, is it? So after 3 issues, we already have almost a full body of Mallard. That is absolutely superb. And that is all there is to do in that stage. And just because I know everyone's shouting at the screen to do it, that's the cab in position there. looking absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please remember to give me a big thumbs up. So, Mallard is already looking good, even after just 3 issues. So, let's see what else we've got to come in the next few issues. If you want to see more of how it progresses or anything else that goes on in the workshop, please do remember to hit the subscribe button and ding that bell, and then you'll be notified when I release a new video. Until next time, check out the merch store, maybe you get yourself a new modelling t-shirt, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Cheers!